I was in the hospital recovering from surgery when my wife said she'd handle everything at home. She didn't visit once. The nurse said, "Your emergency contact changed yesterday, to your cousin, not your wife." I checked my phone. She'd blocked me. I called my neighbor, who said, "There's a new car in your driveway every night." I signed myself out, took an Uber home, and found her wearing his hoodie. She said, "Why didn't you text first?" I just laughed. She got served the next morning. While still in that hoodie. My cousin called me crying. "I didn't know," he said. "I did," I replied. I went into surgery thinking I was married to someone who loved me. It was a routine procedure, but serious enough to need a few days in the hospital. I had a stomach issue that needed fixing. Doctor said it'd take 4 or 5 days to recover before I could go home. Nothing life-threatening, but I wasn't going to be walking around or driving anywhere for a while. Kelly, my wife of 11 years, told me not to worry. "I'll handle everything at home," she said. She kissed me before they wheeled me into the OR. She even packed me an overnight bag with my favorite hoodie and some headphones. Told me she'd visit every day. I believed her. She didn't show up once. First day, I thought maybe work held her up. She's a project manager for a construction company, always putting out fires. Second day, I sent a few texts. "Hey babe, just wanted to see if everything's okay." No reply. Tried calling her around 6 p.m. Straight to voicemail. Third day, I woke up in pain and pressed the call button for the nurse. While she was checking my meds, I asked if my wife had stopped by or called. The nurse tilted her head. "Your emergency contact changed yesterday. It's listed as Ben now. Ben is my cousin. We're close. He's like a brother to me. But he had no reason to be my emergency contact." "You sure?" I asked. She tapped on her tablet again. "Yes. Changed yesterday afternoon. Do you want me to call him?" I shook my head. "No, I'll do it." I reached for my phone and opened my messages. All the texts I sent Kelly, none had delivered. I tried calling again. Still went straight to voicemail. Then I checked my iMessages. Her name was now gray, not blue. That meant I'd been blocked. I stared at the screen for a long time. My hand went cold. I called Ben. "Hey man," I said. "Hospital told me you're my emergency contact now?" Ben sounded confused. "Yeah, they called yesterday." I thought it was weird. "I figured something happened between you and Kelly." "What made you think that?" "Well, they said she had removed herself. I just thought maybe. I don't know, maybe there was a fight or something." "We didn't fight," I said. "I've been lying in this bed, waiting for her to visit." He went quiet. After we hung up, I didn't call Kelly again. I didn't even get angry right away. It was just shock. It was like being in a dream and watching someone you trust walk away with your house keys. I didn't have any proof of anything yet. But I had a feeling. I called Hank, my neighbor. He's retired, lives next door, always keeps an eye on the neighborhood. "Hank," I said. "Sorry to bother you. Can I ask you something?" "Of course," he said. "You okay?" "Still in the hospital. Just wondering, have you seen anything strange at my house?" There was a pause. "Strange how? Anyone coming or going?" Another pause. "Yeah, there's been a car there at night." "Not yours?" "Black Chevy. Been there the past few nights, usually parked in the driveway. Sometimes it's gone by morning, sometimes not." "You see anyone go in or out?" "I saw a tall guy one night, walking in around 9. He was carrying fast food and laughing on the phone." Thought maybe it was family or something. No, I said. It wasn't. That was enough for me. I buzzed the nurse and said I wanted to leave. She said I needed to stay, but I signed the discharge papers myself. I called an Uber from the hospital parking lot. I didn't go straight home. I stopped at the Walgreens and picked up the prescription they gave me. The pain meds barely touched the edge of what I was feeling, physically or emotionally. The Uber driver tried to make small talk. I just stared out the window. We pulled into my street, and there it was. The same black Chevy Hank had mentioned. Parked in my driveway. I sat there in the back seat, gripping the pill bottle in my hand. I didn't know what I was going to find, but I knew I had to see it for myself. I got out, walked up to the door, and unlocked it. The dogs didn't even bark. They looked confused, like they hadn't seen me in days. One of them whimpered and wagged her tail slow, like she wasn't sure if I was real. I walked into the kitchen. Kelly was standing there, wearing some guy's oversized hoodie. Her hair was pulled up, no makeup, phone in hand, music playing in the background. She froze. Her mouth opened a little. "Why didn't you text first?" That's what she said. "Why didn't you text first?" I didn't say anything. I didn't even look at her long. I turned around and walked right back out the front door. She followed me onto the porch, yelling my name, but I just kept walking down the driveway. I got into another Uber and went to Ben's place. I didn't sleep that night. I just stared at the ceiling in his guest room, replaying everything over and over. Every late night she stayed at the office. Every time she came home smelling like cologne that wasn't mine. Every time she said I was being paranoid. Next morning, she got served divorce papers. Still wearing his hoodie. The morning she got served, I didn't watch it happen. But I heard about it. From Hank, actually. He called me around 11 a.m., "You alright, son?" Getting there, I said. "Why?" "Well, your wife came outside yelling at some poor process server this morning. Looked like she wasn't wearing pants under that hoodie." I tried not to look. I let out a tired laugh. "Thanks for the update, Hank." "No problem. Just wanted you to know, lot of people saw." She looked rattled. "Good." I stayed at Ben's house for the next few nights. He gave me his guest room and stayed out of my way. But I could tell something was eating at him. On the fourth night, he came and sat at the kitchen table while I was drinking my coffee. "Listen," he said. "There's something I should tell you." I waited. "You know how I said I didn't know anything?" "Yeah." He nodded slowly. "I didn't know for sure. But I saw her once. A couple months ago. She was at that outdoor bar on Broadway. I was out with some coworkers. I saw her with a guy. They were sitting close, laughing. She kissed him when they left. My hand clenched around the mug. Why didn't you tell me? I thought maybe it was a one-time thing. Anne. I didn't want to be wrong." He looked ashamed. And I understood. I really did. I would have doubted it too if the roles were reversed. "I appreciate you telling me now," I said. "Really?" He nodded and left it at that. But now I knew the affair wasn't new. It had been going on for months. The guy's name was Ethan. I found that out later, through her phone records and some digging. He worked with her. Not married, but with a messy breakup in his past and a kid in another state. I also found out that they started hooking up during her work trip to Minneapolis. The one she said was exhausting. The one where she came home quiet and distant. And just like that, the pieces snapped into place. I hired a private investigator. Not out of revenge, yet, but because I wanted the truth. I wanted it in black and white. While the PI did his work, I made some moves of my own. The house was legally mine. She thought it was shared, but I inherited it from my mom. I just never made a big deal about the paperwork. So I changed the locks. Then I called her. She actually answered this time. "Where am I supposed to go?" she asked, voice cracking. "Not my problem," I said. "You made your choice. This is my home too." "No," I said. "You gave that up when you removed yourself as my emergency contact. When you blocked my number while I was lying in a hospital bed." She started crying. Real tears. Or maybe fake. I didn't care anymore. "I was scared," she said. "I didn't know how to tell you." "So you lied." 4 months. Silence. Then she said the dumbest thing I've ever heard. "I thought maybe we could work through this." I laughed in her face. "You had another man in our house, sleeping in our bed, petting our dogs. You changed my emergency contact so you wouldn't even have to hear if I died. Work through that." Then I hung up. I told her to come by that Friday to get her stuff. I'd have it all packed and waiting in the garage. I had Ben there with me when she showed up. She looked rough. Pale. Hair tied back in a sloppy bun. Hoodie gone, probably returned to its original owner. She didn't say a word when she saw us. Just stared at the boxes like they were coffins. I stood there and watched her load them into her car. She didn't ask for help. We didn't offer. Once she was gone, I burned the sheets. Literally. Built a small fire pit in the backyard and threw the damn things in. She'd taken something from me, years I'll never get back. But I wasn't going to let her take my peace too. The PI called the next day. "You're gonna want to see this," he said. What he showed me wasn't just pictures of her and Ethan holding hands or sneaking kisses in parking lots. He had audio. She'd been bragging to one of her friends at a bar. "He's so boring now," she said about me. "He'd never cheat, never lie. He's safe. But Ethan? God, he makes me feel alive." She laughed after that. Said she sometimes hoped I wouldn't make it through the surgery. Then I wouldn't have to deal with divorce. My stomach turned. I saved everything. The court's gonna see all of it. And so will Ethan's boss. I already made sure of that. But I'm not done yet. She thinks the worst is over. She has no idea what's coming next. After the private investigator gave me the audio, I couldn't stop hearing her voice in my head. "He's so boring now. Safe. Sometimes I hoped he wouldn't make it through the surgery." That last one dug the deepest. I replayed it, over and over. And every time, it felt like someone shoving a knife a little deeper into my ribs. But after a few days, something inside me shifted. The shock wore off. The sadness drained out. And all that was left was cold focus. I wasn't going to just leave and let her get a clean slate. Not after everything she said. Not after what she put me through. I started pulling every string I could. First stop, her work. Ethan wasn't just some office guy. He was her project lead. That meant she was working under him, literally and professionally. And that meant there were rules. Company policy. Ethics violations. I already had the photos. I already had the audio. And I knew someone who worked in HR at their firm, a guy named Curtis, who used to go fishing with my uncle. I called Curtis up and told him what I had. He didn't say much on the phone, but he gave me his email. "Just send it. I'll forward it where it needs to go." I sent the file package that night. 4 days later, Ethan was placed on unpaid leave while the company launched an internal investigation. Kelly got pulled in for questioning too. I don't know exactly what was said, but I know this: by the end of the week, they were both no longer with the company. No severance. No letters of recommendation. Just 2 pink slips and a mess to clean up. Next, I went for her apartment. She'd managed to get into a small place across town. I knew this because she tried to update our mailing address to it, using my name, to forward some of her Amazon packages. I shut that down fast. But when I checked the apartment records, I found something even better. She had listed me as a reference. And she hadn't even told the truth about her income. So I sent the leasing office a little note. Not angry, not hostile. Just facts. I said, Kelly used me as a reference without permission. She also listed a job she no longer holds. The lease got flagged. The landlord reached out to her and gave her 30 days to provide new documents or vacate. Ben thought I was going too far. "Man, don't you think you've made your point?" he asked one night while we played cards. "No," I said. "She didn't just cheat. She didn't just lie. She left me to die in a hospital bed. If roles were reversed, she'd be trying to take me for everything I had." He didn't argue after that. Then came the cherry on top. One night, while I was checking the mailbox, I found a card. No envelope. Just a card slid in between some ads and bills. It was handwritten. It said, "You won. Are you happy now?" I have nothing. No signature. But I knew it was her. I showed it to Hank, just in case. "She ever comes back here, I want you to call me." He nodded. "I will. And if she leaves anything else, I'm tossing it in the trash." 2 weeks later, I got a call from Ethan. Yep. He called me. He left a voicemail. "Hey man. I don't know what you think you're doing, but Kelly's going through a really hard time. I know you're angry, but maybe it's time to stop. You've made your point." I didn't call back. Instead, I sent him a copy of the audio clip where Kelly said she hoped I wouldn't survive surgery. No message. Just the file. Never heard from him again. But I wasn't done. There was still one more twist she didn't see coming. Before our divorce finalized, I had my lawyer add a clause. Kelly didn't read the documents carefully, just wanted it over with. So she signed. That clause? It voided any claims she could make on my retirement fund. Something she'd assumed she was entitled to. I'd saved over $100,000 in that account. She never asked about it during the proceedings. Never knew it was separate from the house. 3 weeks after the papers were filed, she sent me a text. "What about your 401k?" I replied, "Read page 17 of the final agreement." 15 minutes later, "Are you kidding me?" That was the last time I heard from her. For now. But something tells me she's not done trying. And I'm ready. After the 401k text, she went silent for a while. I thought maybe, finally, she understood I wasn't someone she could twist around anymore. But I was wrong. One afternoon, I came home from the grocery store and found a smashed potted plant on my front step. No note this time. Just broken ceramic and dirt everywhere. The dogs were barking like crazy from inside. I checked the doorbell cam. There she was. Hood up, sunglasses on. She walked up, looked straight at the camera, and dropped the plant. No yelling. No drama. Just that. I called the police and filed a report for trespassing. They couldn't do much, but it was on record now. That mattered. A few days later, I got a call from a number I didn't know. It was her mother. We hadn't spoken in years. She always thought I wasn't good enough for her daughter. But this time, her tone was different. "I'm sorry," she said. "I heard what happened. Kelly's not well. She's been drinking. She's lost her job, her apartment, everything. She's staying on my couch. I thought you should know. I already do, I said. Then she said something I didn't expect. She's blaming you. Says you ruined her life on purpose. I took a deep breath. I didn't ruin her life. I just stopped letting her ruin mine. Click. 2 nights later, Ben and I were out at a bar, first time I felt relaxed in months. We were playing darts, laughing, trying to act normal again. That's when she showed up. She stormed in wearing jeans and a tank top, no makeup, eyes wild. She looked nothing like the woman I married. She walked right up to me and slapped me across the face. Everyone in the bar turned. "You happy now?" she screamed. "You got your revenge, didn't you?" I didn't move. I didn't say anything. Just stared at her. "You ruined me," she yelled again. "I gave you the best years of my life." Ben stood between us. "You need to leave. You think this makes you strong?" she hissed at me. "You're pathetic. You always were. That's why I needed someone else." That's when I finally spoke. "You needed someone else," I said, calm and cold, "because you don't know how to love anyone, not even yourself." She froze. I turned my back to her. That was it. She stormed out. Cops picked her up an hour later, drunk and screaming outside my house. That plant incident, combined with the bar scene, it was enough for a restraining order. She didn't fight it. Last I heard, she moved back in with her mom, was working part-time at a diner, and going to group therapy. Maybe she'll find herself. Or maybe not. As for me, I kept the house. Kept the dogs. Got my health back. Started dating again, slowly, carefully. No more blind trust. I made mistakes, too. I ignored the signs. I let love blind me to reality. I thought being safe was enough to keep someone loyal. But I've learned. Love doesn't mean letting someone destroy you. And revenge? It's not always fire and fury. Sometimes, it's just making sure the truth comes out. And letting them live with it. Forever.